Picture this. You're 25 years old, staring at 600 months stretching ahead of you. That's roughly how much time you have left to make something meaningful of your life. Sounds like a lot or terrifyingly little? Today, I want to share 7 hard truths I wish someone had told me when I was navigating my 20s. When I finished school and started my first job as a real estate agent, I remember sitting at my desk waiting for success to somehow find me. I genuinely thought if I just showed up, magical things would happen. That protective bubble you live in through school, where teachers guide you and structures support you, it pops the moment you enter the real world. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you opportunities on a silver platter. This realization hit me like a freight train. Everything from your 20s onward requires you to grab life by the horns. You have to actively create your own path. Even if you don't know what you want yet, that's not an excuse to sit around waiting. Time keeps ticking, whether you're moving forward or standing still. Here's what really messes with your head, though: the fear. I spent so much of my 20s avoiding anything that felt uncertain or potentially embarrassing. Social events where I'd have to show up alone, skipped them. Opportunities that seemed risky, passed right by. Looking back now, I can't even remember half the things I was worried about. They just evaporated. Think about this for a second. If you knew you couldn't fail, how much more would you attempt? Our brains are wired to blow negative outcomes way out of proportion while completely underestimating our ability to handle whatever comes our way. Emphasizes how grabbing attention immediately matters. Well, the same applies to grabbing opportunities in life before fear talks you out of them. Now, let me tell you about one of my biggest regrets: being too cheap in my 20s. Sure, my extreme saving habits helped me invest in real estate and build financial security. But you know what else it did? It made me miss concerts with friends, skip trips, and say no to experiences that would have enriched my life. I was so focused on saving every penny that I forgot to actually live. These days, I use a simple test. Will I regret not doing this in 10 years? If the answer is yes, I do it. This isn't about blowing money irresponsibly. It's about recognizing that everything in life involves trade-offs. By being too restrictive with spending on experiences and relationships, you might save money, but pay a much higher price in missed connections and memories. Let's talk about failure for a minute. In my 20s, I only tried things with high success probability. You know what that got me? A very boring, very limited life. Here's the mathematical truth nobody tells you. The more things you attempt, the more you'll fail. That's not a bug, it's a feature. If you want to be above average at anything, you'll naturally experience more failures than average. Since you can't change the past anyway, the only sensible response to failure is extracting lessons for the future. Every setback becomes data. Every mistake becomes wisdom. But only if you're actually out there trying things. One of the most toxic habits I developed was constantly comparing myself to others. Social media makes this 1,000 times worse. You see someone's highlight reel and wonder why they have it so good while you're struggling. Here's the thing though, that person you're jealous of, they're probably comparing themselves to someone else. It's an endless, exhausting cycle that steals your mental energy without giving anything back. Talks about presenting the most important information first. Well, here's the most important thing about comparison. Life isn't a race because there's no finish line. There's no point where you win and everyone else loses. We're all just trying to figure things out as we go along. Speaking of figuring things out, here's something that might comfort you. Nobody knows what they're doing. Not your parents, not your boss, not that confident person you admire. When I was 20, I thought 30-year-olds had it figured out. Now I know better. We're all improvising, seeking validation, dealing with doubts. This might sound scary at first. Wait, adults don't have all the answers? But it's actually liberating. It means your confusion and uncertainty are completely normal. We're all in this together, making it up as we go along. Even the most self-assured people need support and guidance throughout their lives. Now, here's what might be the most practical advice. Stop wasting time on things that don't matter. People spend at least 1 to 2 hours daily scrolling through their phones. Do the math. That's 14 hours a week, 60 hours a month. What could you accomplish with that time? You could learn a new language, get in the best shape of your life, build a side business, or deepen important relationships. Warns about going down rabbit holes when researching? The same applies to social media and pointless drama. Tut out everything that doesn't add value to your life. Those saved hours compound over time into something massive. I spent way too much time worrying about scenarios that never happened, getting sucked into other people's drama and mindlessly consuming content that added zero value to my life. Every hour you spend on meaningless activities is an hour you can't get back. And remember, you only have about 600 months left. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Life is too short to waste on fear, comparison, and meaningless distractions. Take personal responsibility for your journey. Push beyond your comfort zone even when it's scary. Balance saving for the future with experiencing the present. Accept failures as inevitable teachers. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. Understand that everyone's figuring it out as they go along. And most importantly, use your time intentionally on things that matter. These aren't prescriptions for perfection. I still struggle with many of these things myself. But they're a framework for living more consciously and purposefully. Your 20s are a time for exploration, for making mistakes, for figuring out who you are and what you value. What do you think is the hardest part about navigating your 20s? I'd love to hear your thoughts. The clock's ticking. Make it count.